Hey YouTube vinyl community, Wes here checking in with a brand new episode of the Vinyl Survivor Show. Welcome to the channel. If you're new here, please think about subscribing so you can be kept up to date with future episodes. As always, the Vinyl Survivor Show is the final reckoning of albums I've purchased in the past. They sort of languish in my, what I call my inbox, which is actually larger than my collection. They sort of hang out there for several years while I have a chance to sort of do a deep dive and listen to them, give them multiple plays, and I give them one final, very critical listen before I send them into these videos here that you see here, so I can let you know whether they're going to be going to my permanent collection or whether they just weren't for me. So we're on episode number 184 of the Vinyl Survivor Show. I can't believe I've done that many episodes. I actually have listened to enough albums at this point that I could get well past 200, so plenty more of these to come. Thank you for watching. Let's go ahead and get into it. As always, 10 albums up on the chopping block. We'll see how many made it. Only about half of them made it last time. I think this episode's a little bit of a better one. So starting off, 1978, Neil Young's Comes a Time, his 9th studio album. Very good, well-loved album by Neil Young. I did really enjoy this one. It's got I think the biggest hit on here is Going Back. Also the title track, Comes a Time. Really great, just classic sort of Neil Young album here. This album does have sort of an interesting story to go along with it. The original mastering of the album, Neil did not like, so he actually bought all the copies of the original mastering and used them to put a roof on his barn. Yeah, I bought a very expensive roof, but yeah, he was unhappy with the mastering, and the record company said, basically said you gotta buy them or something. So that's what happened. So this is a remastered version. I don't think there are any of the originals out in the wild. I think he bought them all before it was actually released. But yeah, good solid Neil Young album. Definitely like this one quite a bit. This one's going to be staying at my permanent collection. And that's on the Reprise label here. So Neil Young, Comes a Time, first one going in the permanent collection. All right, next up from 2016, but staying in the folksy kind of realm, we have a UK-based modern folk pop group, Flats and Sharps, and this is their album. I believe this is their only LP, King of My Mind. As I said, from 2016. So yeah, sort of a modern folk pop kind of thing. If you like the Lumineers, Mumford & Sons, that kind of style of music. Really enjoyed this one. This was actually a VCLT from one of the members of the group, Kirk Bowman. He sent this to me as VCLT, and I really appreciated getting it. Really appreciated hearing it. Yeah, excellent stuff. If you like like that kind of music, this is really well played, really well recorded. Something I would have bought if I had heard it beforehand. It's like because it is something I do like, and I definitely would have bought this. Because it's very well played, very well recorded, great songs on here. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the band. Hope they release some more. But yeah, definitely thank you, Kirk, if you happen to still be watching. Thank you very much. I do really love this band. I hope you guys put some more music out, because this is a really good release. Here is inner sleeve with some photos and liner notes, and then it's a single LP, black vinyl. Don't know where this was pressed. Yeah, really good sounding recording and really well pressed. So yeah, that's Flats and Sharps, King of My Mind. I believe that is available on, at least I've seen it on Discogs, and it's not super expensive, so definitely give that a try if you like that kind of folky, modern folk pop kind of stuff. Definitely a good group, and that one's going in my permanent collection. All right, next up we got a soundtrack from 1971. This is the soundtrack to the movie Vanishing Point. Classic car movie. One of my favorite movies. I love this movie, and the soundtrack is excellent as well. It's got a very much a mid-70s mixture of country and soul on it. It doesn't seem like it's something that would work well together, but it just works as far as a theme to this kind of slow burn of a movie that it is. There is the back cover. Gatefold is awesome on this. Yeah, that's kind of a still from the movie, and yeah, that kind of gives you an idea of the movie there and the vibe. And I'd love to find another one of these and get that framed. That would be something cool to hang up, or maybe find a poster version of that still scene. This also gets a bit psychedelic at times. There's the group on here called the JB Pickers, which kind of provides an instrumental sort of theme that runs through the movie. And they got a couple tracks on here, and there's a track on here called the Freedom of Expression. Hopefully, if you want to check out a track from this soundtrack, I would definitely recommend checking out that track, Freedom of Expression by the JB Pickers, if it is on YouTube here. But yeah, excellent soundtrack, and definitely going to be a keeper for me. And I highly recommend the movie as well. I do have it on Blu-ray, which is nice. This is on the Amos record label. A little bit of a rare find to find this soundtrack. I had to get this on Discogs, but I'm glad I did. So that's the soundtrack to Vanishing Point, third one on the chopping block, and the third one going in my permanent collection. Okay, next up we got a bit of jazz from 1965. This is the Ramsey Lewis Trio with the In Crowd on Cadet Records. Yeah, this is a very sort of a smooth, sort of loungy kind of dinner jazz kind of stuff here, I would say. It's very quiet, it's very peaceful, it's very somber. It was a nice listen, but for me, when it comes to jazz, I've kind of come to the conclusion that I really like hard bop jazz or fusion jazz. That's kind of what I'm looking for. So this one's not going to be a keeper for me. I did enjoy listening to it. You know, Ramsey Lewis is always good to pick up, enjoyable stuff, but I don't think I want to keep this in the collection. You know, space is limited, and I definitely want to make room for things that I really love, and I didn't absolutely love this. This was just a nice, pleasant listen. And this one's on the Cadet label. I think this is probably a reissue. That doesn't look like a 65 Cadet label to me. Now, I don't think I mentioned it, but this is a live recording from the Bohemian Caverns in Washington, D.C. Yeah, just a nice live jazz recording. As I said, very, very somber, very peaceful, something you put on for dinner time kind of music would be my thing, or just relaxing, peaceful kind of jazz stuff. So, not a keeper for me, but I enjoyed hearing it. All right, next up from 1983, we have the debut album by Metallica, Kill 'Em All. Classic debut album. Not much needs to be said about this. If you know Metallica, yeah, this is, you know, Hit the Lights, The Four Horsemen, Motor Breath, Jump in the Fire, Pulling Teeth, Seek and Destroy. Yeah, just classic stuff from Metallica. This is a modern Blackened label reissue from, I don't know when they started doing these. Within the last 5 years, I think. They did do a nice insert here, lyrics and some photos on it, similar to the original. I think that probably would have been the original inner sleeve. I haven't seen an original of this to know. And nice custom silver labels, the Metallica logo on it. And yeah, as I said in the past, I've been really happy with these Blackened reissues of Metallica stuff. The, you know, originals can go for a lot of money, and you know, I love Metallica, but I'm not willing to drop $60 or $80 on an original. So to be able to pick these Blackened reissues up for around $20 is very, very nice. So yeah, that one's definitely a keeper for me going in my permanent collection, and yeah, definitely glad to have that one. Glad they're doing the reissues themselves, and they sound excellent. They sound amazing. These Blackened reissues, really good sound on these. And they're pressed at Palace as well, so the pressings are really great. All right, next up I got going back into the folk genre, but this is a Florida folk legend. This is Don Grooms with his 1981 album, Walk Proud, My Son. Don Grooms is like a I don't know how to place him. Snarky folk, very sort of no punches pulled kind of folk music. If you like John Prine, you know, very comedic, very funny. Says things how they are. Really love Don Grooms, and was really glad to have this. And this one is going in my permanent collection. He's got a song about Winnebagos and how, you know, Florida tourists and stuff, and just great snarky folk music, and well played, and, you know, and the custom labels, not too much to see there. So yeah, Don Grooms, Walk Proud My Son, Florida folk legend, awesome stuff. As I said, if you feel like John Prine and that kind of thing, you might want to check him out. A little bit more of an obscurity for most of you who aren't in Florida, but really good music, and a great artist, and glad to have this in the collection. All right, next up, how about some psych pop? We got from 2015, the third studio album by Tame Impala. This one's titled Currents. Yeah, really good album. I definitely like this one. If you've listened to Tame Impala in the past or previous albums to this one goes a little bit more into the synth pop realm, and I think they've continued to go more into the synth pop realm, or I should say it's kind of a one-man band kind of thing. There's the cool gatefold on this, but yeah, from the cover you can tell this is kind of synthy, and it is very much a synth pop kind of thing, but it still has a bit of a psychedelic leaning to it. Really enjoyed this one. As I said, I had this one digitally for a while and was able to pick it up on vinyl at some point, and I'm glad to have it on vinyl. This one's going to be staying in my permanent collection. There's one of the inner sleeves here. It's a 2 LP set. It's on black vinyl. Pressed it United, unfortunately. But yeah, Tame Impala, Currents. Definitely enjoy this group or this person, and definitely want to keep this in the permanent collection. Liked it a lot. Definitely leaning towards synth pop is always a good thing in my opinion, because I like synth pop quite a bit, and nice to have that psychedelic edge to it as well. All right, next up, going all the way back to 1969, we have the Mothers of Invention with Mother Mania. This is a compilation of remixes of early Mothers tracks, I guess is the best way to put this. I am definitely not an expert on the Mothers of Invention or Frank Zappa in general. I've kind of come to the conclusion that I'm just not a Zappa fan. I know that's sacrilege to say that in the vinyl community here, but yeah, just Frank Zappa is just not for me. I mean, I don't find his comedy, his humor funny. I find it kind of grating. I don't like it. So I don't think I'm going to be picking up any more Zappa or Mothers stuff unless it's something I want to pick up for my Discogs store. But personally, I'm not a fan. I'm not going to be picking any more up. I was not happy with. I didn't enjoy this one very much, I should say. This is on the cool blue and silver Verve label. So yeah, the best of the Mothers of Invention. Their best wasn't good enough for me, I guess I could say. Yeah, just not for me. You know, and I understand people really love this stuff, but it's just too juvenile and not that interesting to me. All right, next up, moving back into the synth pop kind of realm here. This is from 1983. The Fixes' Reach the Beach. This is their second album. It features One Thing Leads to Another, and Saved by Zero is on here as well. Really good album, really excellent album. This is actually a Record Store Day 2021 title for whatever reason. It's not a difficult album to find. It's one of those Record Store Day titles that makes you go, why? They could put their efforts into releasing something that's more difficult to find, but who knows how they choose those things. But yeah, an excellent album. Definitely don't buy the Record Store Day one. You can find this in dollar bins and thrift stores sometimes, and even if you had to go on Discogs and buy it, you're probably going to find it for $5 or less. But a really good synth pop album, sort of that early 80s synth pop pop rock kind of realm. Very, very nicely done. Very solid album all the way through. It does have those 2 big hits that I mentioned on here, but the rest of the album is great as well. So this is on the MCA Rainbow label. The Fix Reach the Beach from 1983. I loved it. Staying in my permanent collection. All right, and last but not least, how about some Johnny Cash? We have American 6. This is titled Ain't No Grave from 2010, I believe, is when this was released. This was the final American recordings that's been released, and it was released shortly after his death. The inner sleeve has some liner notes and some black and white photos on it. And it's American recordings, that cool silver and black label. Yeah, so no big notable hits on this, but the American recordings are excellent. Johnny Cash recordings, excellent, way to sort of explore Johnny Cash and get into what he's all about, and sort of he plays with different types of music and different tracks and does a lot of covers, and it's a really good series. So definitely glad to have this. This one's going to be staying in my collection. I did enjoy it. I wish I had them all on vinyl. I do have them all on CD, which is nice, but yeah, that's going to do it for this episode of the Vinyl Survivor. If you made it all the way to the end, thank you very much. I believe 8 survived this time, so definitely a better record than last time. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great day, great night. Remember, there is no bad music, only music you don't like, and we'll see you again next time. Cheers.